Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Cocktail Hour. I am Meg.
And I'm Nikki. And if you're a wedding vendor headed to a wedding, this episode is dedicated to you.
And today, it's nothing in particular that we're talking about, but we're doing a little bit of a submission box cleanup as different stories and things pop up that we cover. You know, sometimes the submission box gets a little full. So there was a bunch of little stuff, everything from like pricing to Ozempic was asked about. So I thought, let's just go through a bunch of it. But before we do that,
I need you to go because you have so many things listed in your recap that when I looked at this last night, I was like, what the actual fuck?
But here's what happens is anytime I get a bug up my butt or I think of something, I go, let me write a buzzword on the doc so I remember to talk about it later. I'm going to tell you why that doesn't work. Because I wrote down, also not me being like, okay, yeah, we're recording. I wrote down tolls. Nikki, I have no idea. I have no idea what I wanted to talk about with tolls.
Probably the tolls because you were driving through Chicago and there's Illinois tollways.
But I can't think about what I would have had to say.
Were you getting
tolls.
the texts? Were you getting the spam texts that everybody was getting like a month ago on...
I have gotten those, but I never pay ahead of time. I just wait for them to mail me a letter.
Me too.
I'm like, no,
I just pay online.
Yeah, but I have no idea what I meant for that.
Perfect.
Okay, I wrote Adele. So I was on the way to Chicago.
Just love Adele.
Yeah, I was on the way to Chicago and an Adele song came on. And I realized that Adele and Beyonce have shaped my life, not just because I like their music, but Adele came out with an album.
I feel like I know where the Adele thing is going. Okay.
It made me break up with a boyfriend. I heard one specific song on an Adele album and I listened to it and I was like, oh yeah, I hate my boyfriend. I'll look at it as I'm talking. But the other thing is Adele, hopefully he never listens to this, but that song, Someone Like You, came out roughly when I was in high school. And I remember my boyfriend that I was dating right outside of high school had no money. He made $200 a week as a telemarketer. And he took us to the Adele concert in St. Paul in like 2011 or something like that, 2012. And I remember listening to Someone Like You and I was bawling my head off and he was like consoling me because he's like, oh, this is so nice. I was just thinking about my high school boyfriend.
That's crazy.
Isn't that terrible? I was like, this man spent most of his income on taking me.
That's actually crazy.
And I legitimately don't want to be here. Also, my high school boyfriend should. But Love in the Dark is the song that I remember listening to when this came out in 2015. And it essentially just talks about like, look, I don't love you anymore. I get it. Like, you're nice and all, but I don't love you. I don't want to be here. And I listened to it and I started crying in the car. Again, I was with this man in the car and he's like, oh, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. I hate you.
That's
and
so
I cannot do this. But also the same thing with Beyonce. I listened to the Lemonade album and I was like, yeah, fuck my man. I hate this guy. So that was my Adele note. What did you really want to be when you grew up? Not just like, I want to be a princess, but when you were a kid.
I wanted to be a lawyer.
Really? Mm-hmm. Tell me why.
Because I love arguing with people.
I like that.
And I think I'm actually really good at like creating a case very factually and very clearly.
You're good at keeping your temperament down. Yeah.
Usually.
With me, at least thus far.
For the most part.
Yeah.
I like helping people. So I always really wanted to be a lawyer.
You should be an immigration lawyer.
I should go back to school.
Yeah, fuck photography.
I told Craig, I was like, what, like, am I going back to school? Like, because he really doesn't like that I work weekends.
Yeah.
He's like, I just wish we could, like, spend more time together. And I said, okay, well, here are the options.
Yeah.
Who's paying for my education?
Would you go back to something healthcare related since you're already in that field?
I would probably just do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, again, these are just things on my road trip that I started thinking about. I personally, shit you not, and if I could do this, I would do this. I'd quit photography. No offense, all my couples. I love you guys so much. I'll still shoot your weddings.
Yeah.
But I wanted to cut movie trailers so bad.
Oh, cool.
I thought that would be such a fun thing. However,
like Cameron Diaz in The Holiday.
would be so bigger, redder. Like, I'm like, I want that job, but I would love that so much. There's something about movie trailers. I feel like I've even told you this. There's one specifically, if you guys haven't seen it, for Wakanda Forever. It's after Chadwick Boseman died, but there's a trailer that legitimately, every time I watch it, and I've easily watched it 100 times. Opie is taking Nikki out, by the way. I've watched it easily 100 times. I cry on the spot every time. Trailers can do something to you that honestly sometimes full movies cannot.
True.
So it hits you with those emotions. Teachers who are 22, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Well, it depends on what they're teaching.
Anything. I don't think they should be teaching at 22. Can you think about you at 22?
Yeah, I was married.
Oh yeah, you probably. Actually, we both had pretty chill lives when we were 22. But I just think about that. You go to school for 4 years, you're 18, and then you are 22, and you get a teaching job. And at my high school, there was so much turnover. I'm talking year after year, new teachers were coming in, baby-faced. But when you're a kid,
I don't remember having any young teachers ever.
Yeah.
I really don't. But I also had like a really great public school system. Not to say that you don't or didn't, but Wayzata is #1 in the state year after year. So
Mora is known, I think, for meth houses.
And when I say Wayzata, people are always like, oh, you were rich. I go, I lived out of a car. Like, we lived in a hotel. I slept on the floor of a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
With
Nikki just
furniture.
won the address lottery where
Literally,
she could go to
I
Wayzata.
grandfathered into that school somehow by like, for whatever reason. Like, I wasn't one of the like very, trust me, I had some friends who I would go to their house and I'd be like, Jesus Christ, no, you cannot come over.
Brownies.
Yeah, I'm literally stuffing my bag full of the mini muffins. And
hell yeah.
But as for teachers, like I don't remember ever having a young teacher. And
but do you think you would have remembered because they look old when you're so young?
No, like I would have remembered. Yeah. Like you remember when you have a younger teacher. But I do see like these 22-year-old teachers on TikToks who are like coming in ass out. Some of these in like whatever. I also am somebody who believes like, yeah, if I have spaghetti straps on and I'm a junior in high school and you're distracted by my cut shoulders. Like,
sounds like you might be a rapist.
Yeah, like you might need to work on that. So like whatever, you can wear whatever. But as a teacher, I just think there's such a different standard. And I do think that like being a 22-year-old teacher is kind of a wild concept.
It's wild. Like you were just probably
especially if you're doing
coke.
High school. Like I think that's weird.
Also, I feel like those lines get so I feel like that's
blurred.
where the lines get blurred. Where it's like, and it's not just male teachers.
No.
Those female teachers who flirt
a lot
with
of
their
the
male
times
students.
it's female. It's a majority female teachers. There's actually this TikToker who went viral on TikTok, obviously.
Shit.
Influencer, if you will. She is like a running influencer who like runs marathons. And I was really inspired because at one point in time I was like, oh, I should be a runner. And I started following her. And then all of a sudden, all of these things started coming out about how she used to be a high school teacher and she would flirt with her students and take inappropriate pictures with them and was like sexting some of them. And I was like, oh, no. Unfollow.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But it does make sense because like, not that makes sense, but
I know what you mean though. They're not like mentally.
No.
They're 22,
and they're so close in age that it's confusing to the students.
Yep.
And to the teacher. It's easier to take advantage of young people that way. Anyway, this became like an advocacy podcast all of a sudden.
No, but I really do think sometimes they don't even understand what they're doing.
Exactly.
They think that they're like flirting with people their age. I'm like, no. They're not your age.
And you're in a position of power. Like this ain't right.
Yeah. Beyonce, obviously. I went to 2 Beyonce concerts in Chicago. I got a nasty ass chest cold because of it, and it was totally worth it. First night we had the Club Hoedown. Here's what I'm finding is these tickets were so fucking expensive and I had such a great time, but I'm 5'3". I'm a little nugget. I cannot see. And then everyone's got cowboy hats on. Yeah. It was one of the best nights. Like I cried so many times. Just there's something cathartic about the lights going down. There's, I don't know, 50,000 people there. and you just see the silhouette of Beyonce and people flip the fuck out.
My cousins were in section like 300 and my cousin FaceTimed me for my birthday the following day.
Yeah.
And I just was like, how was it? And I told her, I was like, my friend was there and she's like a stan, like a Beyonce stan. And I was like, I'm not, but I'm sure I would enjoy it. And she was like, yeah, I'm honestly not either. I love Beyonce and her music. But she goes, but I had a spiritual experience.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, it was like nothing before. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I hear an album from someone and then I'll watch a live performance. And I'm like, what the fuck was that?
It doesn't compare.
Beyonce, it's like the album. It's perfection.
Which is why it's so worth it.
It's so worth it. But I do think Adam and I, at the end of the first night, I had not broken in my cowboy boots. Also, I looked cute, and I'll send you 2 pictures because I realized I have 2 asses, and that's another thing on here. I have my Levi's ass and my sweatpant ass.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they're vastly different. I'll make sure to share them on the page here. I was going to put them on Instagram. I decided against that. But
we still can. It's not too late.
We can. Maybe we can put it just on the Cocktail Hour podcast Instagram. But it was great. But Adam and I did say, hey, maybe for the next show, we are going to get like first level, first row, because those are still
next
insanely
show,
expensive.
Meaning her next tour.
Yes.
Okay.
For Act 3, whatever that may be, hopefully a rock album.
A random thought that I had, and I meant to text you this, was, do we think Blue Ivy is being trained up to be the next Beyonce? Because as we said, we spoke previously and you said to yourself and me, and this is not slander to Beyonce, but you did say like she needs to stop touring before it gets chuggy. Like, and I said like a Madonna, like we need to like cut it off at a certain point. So do we think Blue Ivy is like...
I do agree. She needs to pull like a Michael Jordan. Like,
pull out while you're still hot. Yeah.
I think so. Based on what I've seen from Blue on this tour, I'm like, girl,
that's what I was wondering.
So if she can sing,
they're training those vocals right now. She's having vocal cord surgery at the moment. Like she's under the knife.
They were like, look, unless Blue is so insanely bad at singing, we're gonna make this work because she can dance. She's stunning. Like the kid's stunning in a non-creepy way.
She has stage presence. She's clearly a performer.
She was to this life, and I think that I think after Act 3, Beyonce could retire and Blue Ivy could kind of walk in those footsteps. So we'll see. But yeah, other than that, show was great. One thing I'll say is I really struggled the first show. I was just wanting the photographs. Yeah. And that's not a great way to live life. No. I will tell you, that's actually what I do a lot of the times in a lot of different places where I go like, oh, I want to go to this place because I think it'd be good photographs. Like when I want to plan my next international trip, I'm not thinking about the experience and relaxing. I'm thinking about the photographs. And I wish I didn't do that. So night 2, we were so fucking sick. But I was like, we've paid mortgages for these tickets, so we'll be going. You
must go.
I didn't wear my boots. I didn't wear my cute, sexy Levi jeans. I literally had like a flannel, thick wool socks with my Birkenstocks because those were the only other shoes I had. I did not care. People probably saw me in this section and went, how the fuck are you here? Like, did someone give you these tickets? Because clearly you don't care about Beyonce. I'm like, no, I have a chest cold. I can barely breathe. My feet hurt. Yeah. I've been sitting in a makeshift sauna all day. I'm probably going to get a bill from the hotel because literally Adam and I locked ourselves in the bathroom, lined the crevices with towels, turned the shower on as hot as it could go, and just sat and just tried to like steam our bodies, trying to feel better. Yeah. Okay, next, Starbucks water. I just remembered what this was.
Oh yeah, they charge you for water now.
They charge you for water, and Starbucks can literally go to hell. Give me a break. Like, number one, I order a water and they give me a tall. I'm like, give me a fucking venti water. Is it really that big of a deal? And then I remembered, well, in Vegas, when I would order a water, they're like, yeah, it's $2. Yep. I'm paying $9 for a coffee, and you can't give me a water on the house in good faith. It's so gross. And I wanted to call them out here for the 10 people that watch us every week. Thank you.
Cheers to you guys. Truly.
Couple other things. This, again, Nikki was not wrong when she said this was long.
I saw the list and I thought,
oh, I know.
Sorry.
So we're driving to Chicago and I realized how bipolar I am because I'm scrolling.
Who's we driving?
Oh, Adam and I are driving. Adam's driving to Chicago and I'm, passenger princess, passenger possum more so than anything.
Okay.
And I'm scrolling and I'm on Instagram looking at videos and like a video will pop up and I'm cackling because it's something I go, oh, Nikki, you'll love this.
And then you're crying.
And then the next video, it's like a video of a cat about something and I'm actually crying. There's
sobbing.
no like, oh, that's sad. No, I'm sobbing.
Yeah.
And then the next video, I'm laughing again. And Adam's like,
girl,
what's going on over there? Like, I'm actually, are you okay? I'm like, no. And it's probably not healthy to have this like flip-flop of emotion throughout a 6-hour drive. And I just wanted people to know that if you do that as well, you're not alone.
Yeah, I do it. I think it's a normal thing for mentally ill millennials.
Yeah, because, like, I want to cry, but I want to laugh, and I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Nikki,
yeah,
for the
we
listener,
just took a selfie because this is the cutest freaking thing I've ever seen.
I know. He's such a love bug. If anyone's wondering why Opie's joining us, it's because, number one, he's cute, so shut the fuck up. Number two, if he were downstairs with my other dogs right now, they would be, have you ever seen WWE or Wrestling Federation? That's what would be happening down there. And we need him to chill out. Okay, last couple things. So obviously I have been sick the last week. You know what I rediscovered?
What?
Vicks Vapor Rub.
I love Vicks. I use it even when I'm not sick.
Okay. For what? Just like
breathing abilities, especially when I have allergies.
Fair.
And my room's in a basement too. Like your room's in the basement. You got to start pulling that shit out, especially when the weather changes. You just never know.
I haven't used it since I was a kid. And I remember my dad, every time I'd get sick.
80 years old.
No, literally. But my dad would always like, okay, it's all on your chest, your back, like under your nose.
On your bottom of your feet.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I might have made that up.
I'm waiting to see a picture of Nikki literally
lathered.
It's actually a sexual thing.
I was going to say it's a fetish.
She loves the smell. I feel like that would really be tingly in places.
So funny.
But I rediscovered that, and it really does help. And I put it on, and it made me feel like a kid again in a weird way. It like transported me back. I was like, let's put on some Hey Arnold. Give me a fucking, orange juice and leave me be.
No.
My current food fixation. Opie. Not me, like, kind of forgetting we're recording for a second.
I just said no straight up into the mic. Okay.
That's okay. My current food fixation, because I tend to have these, we have these, like, panko breaded chicken nuggets, and I eat them every day
Just
now.
go to Wendy's. Come on.
But here's the thing.
No.
Actually, that I feel like Wendy's is those panko breaded, but then we got the sauces. What do they say in Eastbound and Down? The fixins from Target, and I get Buffalo Wild Wings Parm garlic.
Okay.
Do a little bit of that. And then I get Buffalo Wings mild sauce and do it just a bit of that. Because you know me, I cannot handle spice. Apparently. We've found that many times with each other. And I just need everyone to know I eat that every single day. And
it's healthy to have routine.
I haven't had anything else lately except for my protein shake in the morning. Last one, my 2 asses. And I just was like feeling myself with the Beyonce concert. I was like, okay, like my butt looks good in these jeans, all that stuff. And then the next day, obviously, I put on my sweatpants. But like, I feel like you could wear a pair of sweats and you still like, like you're a cutie. I looked like I had a diaper on. I looked like an old man that you watch walk by in the nursing home and you go, he has shit his pants.
I live with one. I know the exact scene
Papa.
every day.
How old is Papa?
90.
That's insane. He just won't go, huh?
Yeah. Craig did look at me one day and was like, so like, he's going to be around for a while, huh?
Like,
and then he said the same thing about my dog. And I was like, okay, you can't say the same thing.
How old is Baxter?
No, Harper.
Harper
is 15.
I was like, okay.
And he's old, like unwell old.
15. Do you think that people are probably going to get mad that I say that, but do you think that you'd ever be like, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to go.
Well, yeah, because he's so big. Like, it's at a certain point, it's torturous to a dog that big to stay around. Opie is currently obsessed with my can.
Opie.
So we're kicking him out.
Just chill somewhere. Okay, really quick. Butt number 1.
Oh, yeah, those are cute.
Yeah, cute. They were like flare jeans.
I already know the sweatpants.
Butt number 2. And I was like, I'm looking back I was like, surely
this must be a mistake. This must be the mirror.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Anyways, so I'll make sure for the listener, I'll make sure to share those. So that is my 1,000
Holy shit, yeah.
update.
That's why I was like, oh my gosh, you gotta tackle these things. Well, I'll do mine really quick. I turned 32 last week, and I was severely depressed.
Did you cry on your birthday? I tend to do that.
I cried the day before my birthday. I was actually really depressed, so like real moment. Let's have a mental health highlight moment because May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Oh, yeah.
And we joke a lot about mental health and mental health like we don't joke about mental health awareness, but
no, we joke about mental illness.
Being mentally ill. Because, as a millennial comedian does, you joke about being mentally ill. But my 32nd birthday, I don't care so much about like getting older. Aging to me is like a very big like blessing thing. Yeah. Like what I don't care about getting older. So many of my friends are years and years older than me. Craig is way older than me. Adam's much older than you. Yeah. Like
also, what's the alternative? Death?
Exactly. Like I have friends who are mortified of like aging and the aging process and blah blah blah. And I'm like, whatever. We're getting old. We're looking older. Yeah. Like we look different. We're not 22 anymore.
Also, really quick, because this is an important thing you're going to talk about, but I cannot wait to be old and wreak havoc on society.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because I'll just pretend that I don't know what's going on.
Literally.
I just stole the new iPhone. What? Where am I?
No, bitch. They're putting your ass in jail. They do not care about these old folks out here in these streets.
Nope. I'll get butt number 1 ready. I'll get the boobs up. I'll be this little old lady.
I don't know if I see.
There's some weird loss protection people.
You've got to find your niche deep down on the dark web somewhere for the elderly. Like that's like way beyond normalized society. I don't know that anybody's going to be
I still plan on stealing.
Yeah, let me hit that old ass, that old diaper ass, because that's what it's going to be, bitch. Yeah. If you think you're going to have that Levi ass
number 1 and number 2
at 80 years old, it's diaper butt for sure. But anyway, my birthday was my grandma died on my birthday too. So my birthday is definitely it's a different time. It's one to celebrate for sure, but it's also like very depressing because like one of my favorite people literally died while I was in bed with her.
Yeah.
On my 24th birthday, I think. So it was 8 years. I don't do math. So if anybody online watching, feel free to do the math in the comments. You 4 people.
Yeah, we appreciate you 4 people.
Thank you so much. Who was that guy who started watching us, Aaron?
Yeah, who was like, buttholes, I love this. I'm like, thank you, Aaron.
Well, hopefully you enjoy the dark humor of like my grandma dying on my birthday. So
yeah.
But I recovered. I rallied. I also got my period the day after my birthday, and I knew it was coming because I was just like wildly emotional. And I do track mine. So like in my calendar, I was like, oh, that's coming, and I'm going to be like wildly depressed. And I was. So yeah, Mental Health Awareness Month. Go and see your therapist, take your meds, and take care of yourself because the streets are scary.
Sometimes, speaking of the streets, there's nothing better than just go take a fucking walk.
That's what we did.
What did they say?
Craig and I went to Boom Island Park and we walked for a while. And then we went and had brunch with the dog and it was like the best. And then the next day I had the best birthday. So
also, when I say like, this is going to sound so insane, but Nikki knows me, so hopefully she doesn't take it this way. when I'm like, hey, where is this? Don't tell me the location. Send me a pin. I need a pin.
You can't Google Boom Island Park.
Number one, I've been there 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But the overlook spot that you had, I was like, that's a vibe.
Go location scout it. Like you told me to do at Nicollet Island Pavilion when we were talking about a spot once.
Did I really?
You literally were like, I'm not telling you.
No way.
Swear to God.
Okay,
you were like,
well, that's crazy.
You were like, you can go walk the area a little down to the left over there, like some place that had some bushes or something. You were like, I don't tell people about it.
Which is insane because I've literally been there maybe once or twice for a wedding. I've never even used it for a session.
I don't know.
I must have lost my mind. I apologize because that is not the energy I'd like to bring to our friendship.
But Boom Island, there's a big loop. And I literally, all I do every time I go there, I just walk the big loop. But you don't go on the paved path. You go on the grassy path, I guess you would call it. So like instead of starting on the paved path by the parking lots, I start on the grass path and I just do one big circle. And it's like, I love Boom Island Park because of that, because there's literally greenery. There's the city backdrop. There's water backdrop. There's pavement. Like you can get like so many different, I don't know, vibes within one location. And anytime I go there, I'm not saying this like it's a big secret. Anytime I go there, there's at least 10 other photographers that I see there.
This isn't like a
That's why I'm
park.
like, it's Boom Island Park. I see everybody there at least. Yeah. I've gone there and done engagement sessions and I look over and I'm like, hey, nice to see you. Like, how you doing?
I just felt when I saw that vantage point, I was like, how the fuck have I never seen that?
Yeah, you got to go the greenery path, not the paved path, which is like right there. And I think people miss it because it doesn't look like where everybody's walking. But like, I love... And here's the thing. We've seen greenery in Texas. We've seen greenery in Oklahoma. I will say I don't love the greenery in Minnesota. It's so neon. It can be so bright and in your face and just whatever. Yeah. But we make it work. Yeah. So,
and it's also not as easy to be like, just edit it.
No, it's really not. And it's been really difficult this season with some of these sessions or outdoor weddings, like especially when it's raining or if it's, overcast compared to full sun. Like the greens here are so hard to tackle. Like they really are. And those greens down in Texas were nice. Like when I was editing, so I was like, okay, really lush. Even just driving down Oklahoma, I was like, God, you kept saying like, look at these ditches in the side of the road and how beautiful they are. I would throw a couple in there for some photos. Absolutely. Literally, same. I went out last weekend for the first time. So not this past weekend. Wait, yeah. Was it? I don't remember. Anyway, I went out over when Craig was at Fishing Opener and I blacked out. I'm not going to lie. I never go out. Truthfully, I never really like go out for like a full night out on the town. Yeah. I'll go out for like drinks or like dinner, whatever. No, bitch. Yeah. Was this Posty? No. My friend and I, Posty was literally on Tuesday. That was on a Tuesday. But my friend and I over Fishing Opener, which was also Mother's Day weekend, we went out and we had a time. And if you've ever been to a bar where there's like live music, everybody is huddled at the live music. It was actually some shitty cover band or whatever that band is called. Love them so much. They were playing at the Rabbit Hole, which is a newer bar in North Loop. And so like everybody's at the concert stage, if you will, listening to some shitty cover band because they're amazing. And my friend and I are in the corner just drunk off our asses, sitting in a booth by ourselves, putting on Snapchat filters and singing. And that is 32. That is 32. Oh, yeah. And I was so it brings you back here to being 22. Well, and also like I think the older you get, and as you've kind of alluded to, the less you care. Like I truly don't give a fuck what anybody thinks of me. And I've always had that mentality. But at this big age, I could not care less about anybody in this bar looking at me, talking to me. I had a full-grown man tell me that I couldn't pet his dog because I was ugly. And I bent down and I said, well, your dog thinks I'm beautiful, so I pet it anyway. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I don't care.
Really quick,
Also, go ahead and say what you're going to say. But when you told me that was my karma, you remember? You said that's your karma because somebody
Meg saying things that I don't even remember.
Unhinged Meg moments that she doesn't remember. You sent me a voice note. I was like, Meg, I have to tell you this hilarious story. Told her that story over a voice note, and she goes, yeah, well, that's your karma because when we were in Texas, some guy was trying to.
Oh yeah, okay. So we're out. Nikki and I are about to throw hands. Okay,
I was so over it.
We're so over the situation. We're cranky.
The nightlife scene in Austin, Texas at 1 a.m.
So we're trying to get back to the car and we're packing up, and two, I don't know, cholos.
I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, gonna say you can't say that.
Hey, mommies, blah, 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 blah. Like they're trying to talk to us. I'm sure they're very nice gentlemen. It's Monday through Friday.
They were drunk.
Yeah, they were drunk. And they are whatever trying to talk to us, and we're packing up the car. We're not really paying any attention to them, and they go.
I just kept saying no.
So they go, okay, what about the fine one? And they're talking about Nikki, by the way. Like, okay, what about the attractive one? And I was like, and I acted like I didn't hear it because I was like, I'm already about to have a mental breakdown. I am going, like, I'm going to fight with this person. Nikki's going to be mad that I've even interacted with them.
Oh, no, I would have thrown hands. I was ready. Okay. I was ready. So Meg responds to me after I told her that some drunk man in the street called me ugly. And she goes, yeah, well, that's your karma because when we were in Texas. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why is this my karma? What did I do?
That conversation we had about, like, intent versus impact. Because to me, I say that and I more think like, yeah, we both know you're hot. So good. I'm glad someone called you ugly for once because we know you're not. We know you're hot. And it comes off so mean when really I'm just like, yeah.
I knew you were joking.
Yeah,
I knew you were joking.
Still,
but I thought it was so funny. So I was like, this little bitch.
Like, you bitch.
Meanwhile, I'm having a depressive episode crying like about to KMS.
Good.
Like, and you're like, yeah, you deserve it, you ugly hoe. Like, there's your karma. Anyway, I did see Post Malone though on Tuesday. Grace actually bought me my ticket, which was like so nice. I was like, yeah, of course. I do love Post Malone. It was a country concert. It was a rock and roll country concert, like straight up. And I loved it. And I will say, again, being a 32-year-old woman now, our seats were in the like 300 level. We got to sit the whole time. Yeah. We got to enjoy the show. The sound honestly was great. Posty did such a good job. I freaking love him. He is.
In places like that, you could get a 300 ticket and the show is fucking great.
Not necessarily. My friend saw Luke Combs at US Bank Stadium, 300 section, said she couldn't hear a thing. Everything was muffled. The sound was horrible. And she was.
Where was Post?
US Bank Stadium. So that's why I was surprised because I brought a friend with me and she was like, the sound can be questionable at US Bank sometimes. It's not known for great sound apparently. Yeah. So I was like, I would never have known because it was immaculate show. He did such a good job. He's a great performer as well. And I thought it was really cool, like that he also has this little country moment with Jelly Roll. And he did perform like a lot of his older rap songs, if you will, but he did a twist on them and they weren't like your traditional rap song. They were like more rock and roll. And it was really cool. So
I'm going to just
had a good time.
Be sassy for the sake of being sassy. Yeah. I feel like everyone and their mother, this is not a you thing, this is the universe thing, has no problem with just weird-ass Posty Malone dipping his toe.
We're making it a Beyonce.
Country, and then Beyonce, Houston, Texas, comes and does it, and they're like, no.
But people did have a problem when Post Malone had cornrows and was a full-blown...
Yeah, that's fair.
Rapper. Like, that was a weird
time. Bops.
Yeah. Like, he was dropping bops. But yeah, I do agree with you. I do think it is definitely America being America, just being like, well, and you're
People
right.
don't like change.
Beyonce is from Texas.
Yeah.
She is from Houston, Texas, honey. Are you kidding me? Like, who are we kidding here?
My favorite comparison is like Keith Urban is fucking Australian. Not even from the country.
Shrimp on the barbie.
Yeah. I'm like
get out of here.
But he's okay. Anyways, if anyone's watching or if anyone hears banging, it's because Opie.
Banging?
Like on your mic.
Oh.
Opie used to be really great for about 2 shows, and now he's kind of into
He is a
toddlers.
teenager now, yeah. Or he's a toddler. He went from the infantile napping stage to full-blown toddler. But anyway, aside from prepping for Italy and binging Summer House like no one has ever seen.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my life lately.
So I know Paige is on Summer House. Hannah is not?
No longer. She was.
But was.
From season 3 to season 5.
Is that where they met?
They met prior to that through work.
Okay. What is Summer House?
Summer House, okay, great question. I'm so deep into the lore of Summer House. If anybody is not watching, I'm going to make this so quick. Also, are we for real?
Honestly, he deserves it at this point. He deserves
He's stuck. Summer House is basically a show that started with a bunch of New Yorkers who were friends who do share houses every summer. So people who live in New York, they often go to the Hamptons when you have shmoney. They go to the Hamptons and they rent a share house because the Hamptons is really, really expensive. So you split it with like 10 of your friends. So that's how the show started.
The rich people need to split these homes.
So that's how the show started, was them, a group of them sharing the homes. And then season 3, Paige and Hannah from Giggly Squad were introduced as new, people to the show.
Yeah.
And there are still a few OGs current day. We're on season 9 currently. That's like the current day season. So they go every weekend. They spend their weeks in the city doing work. And then every weekend they go and they spend the weekends together. They often host like themed parties.
Yeah.
But season 5 is COVID. So they spent 6 weeks straight in this house together with the same people. And so as you can imagine, drama ensues, craziness happens. I can't imagine spending 6 weeks straight in quarantine, not being able to go to bars, restaurants, get some alone time, going to a coffee shop by myself. Like, you are stuck 6 weeks straight working from home with all of the people that you live with, which is like 10, 11 people.
Yeah, no.
You're not leaving. There's no pets. There's like, I would not be set up for success in that. So
you are one of the people I care most about in this world.
Couldn't do it.
After about 48 hours, with anyone, with you, with Adam, whatever, I'm like, I need a little time.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because I am crazy and I need time to decompress the crazy.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my catch
well,
up.
everyone make sure to give a shout out happy birthday to Nick, 32. We're now the same age. Thank goodness.
All right.
I was over being the elder of the group.
The elder. Okay, let's jump into
Let's do it.
Our inbox. We're clearing out the inbox today. So we're going to go ahead and kind of cover some of these submissions that we have not been able to so far. I'll start with the first one, which is a hot take. Are couples who ask for a contract to be changed or amended immediate red flags?
No, it depends.
It depends. Yeah. That's such an open-ended question with like no context.
Like specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do not think any overarching statement is a red flag in a client because there's always nuances to that. But I do think if you get an email where your contract is absolutely redlined by someone,
that's a red flag.
Things that are dumb that
like
they
a
want
meal
changed.
clause.
Yeah.
Or something.
They're like, well, it says here you need to be fed. I disagree with that.
Okay.
Run. Usain Bolt and get the fuck out of there. It's not worth the money or anything like that. But I mean, I get it. I've honestly had someone come back and be like, hey, by the way, I think there's a misprint in your contract. It says you're office hours are 10 p.m. to whatever, and it's meant to be 10 a.m.
You go, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm like, great, thanks.
Love you.
Let me send you some money for
saving my
proofreading the thing I paid a lawyer for. I really appreciate it. I just love that Nikki's like, come here, and he'll come just. He's licking the mic right now. ASMR. Opie, you are just not having it this morning. Did you not get enough run time? Okay, next one. So, hi, Meg. I have heard you mention taking a shot in a few episodes and that you've lost weight. I'm curious if you're on a GLP-1. I am on one and would love to hear about your experience if you're on one and two.
If you're one on one and two, open to share it.
Fair. Thank you. And if you're not on one, never mind. LOL. So, I am on one. Periodically, I would be so much thinner if I actually consistently took these shots. But I am on one. I go back and forth between dosages. I'm on tirzepatide, Zepbound, whatever. Opie is being insane right now. He's being like a very naughty boy. He will not stop munching our fingers.
Does he have a toy?
That is a really great question. He does.
Yeah, we'll do it for the mini.
Yeah, we'll do it for the mini. We'll just see if he chills out. But yes, I am on Zepbound. I'm on the 2.5 milligram. He's just a demon right now. And yeah, I've lost 60 or 70 pounds since last year. I do try to go to Lifetime a couple times a week. Adam and I go play tennis every week. So I'm trying to be active, take walks and all that good stuff. But I do really think that if you are taking these shots, if you want long-term results, like Nikki's in the gym constantly. Nikki does like her fitness competition. You do really have to make lifestyle changes. It can't just be the shot, because the moment you do stop taking it, which I've done, those food feelings and like the whatever, all of that stuff comes right back. So, but yeah,
I will say Meg heard about it from me actually, because my mom started it over a year ago. So she has a prescription for it as well.
Yeah.
And I have tried it through her. I've never gotten my own prescription because it's like wildly expensive. Yeah. And I also just like don't consistently take it. And I didn't consistently take it. For one, it made me really sick.
Yeah.
And for two, I found a really good regimen that works for me, but I will say that doing a tirzepatide to kind of kickstart that process had really helped me a lot and gotten me into a good routine where I felt comfortable like maintaining.
Yeah. And I think that people who've never been larger don't quite understand that, like, we don't want to be this way. It's not like I'm sitting there like, ooh, I just love not feeling comfortable every day. I just love struggling to walk, long distances. But what ends up happening is over time, you do get bigger and bigger and bigger. Your body needs more food.
Yep.
Otherwise, you feel like you're starving. You're not starving, but your body and your mind are telling you that you're starving, you're hungry, whatever the case may be. And then you go to the gym and you are bigger. So it is 10 times harder when you're at the gym versus someone who's, I don't want to say normal size. That's not what I mean. But someone who is on the thinner side, it feels miserable to do those things. So it's just, I don't know. People don't quite understand. They go, oh, it's cheating. I go, no, it just gave me a little bit.
It is not. I don't think it's cheating whatsoever. No. I do think that if you get to a certain goal weight or whatever as you're doing it, I do think it is healthy to create those, routines and tendencies so that you don't have to be reliant on the shot forever, because I don't think that's necessarily healthy. And I do think that once you do hit that goal weight or whatever, like I said, for me, like it did make me really sick. And so it's not the best option for me to do like on a weekly basis. Yeah. Also, I can't afford it. It's not something that's like in my in the budget, and so I created that routine of saying like, okay, well, this was a good kickstart. It helped me with like bored eating, when I did do it. It was like very much like, you don't need to eat right now. Just because you're not doing anything doesn't mean you need to eat. And I wasn't somebody who I would consider to be like severely overweight, but I was definitely overweight and not healthy. Like I was not at a point where I was healthy a couple of years ago. And so it definitely helped with kickstarting a really good healthy routine that I've been able to maintain. And 2024 was my year. My word for the year was consistency. And I really tried to stick to it. And I believe that I really did.
Oh, you
and
did.
So I
every
think
week we were recording the podcast. She's like, okay, we got to be done at this time. Like, I got to be at the gym at this time. I was impressed.
I think it's a hard thing to do, but I think if you do it, like, you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
It's
So.
just about having the...
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
So, yes, we are... Well, I am still on that. Nick's not. But Nick goes to the gym and she kicks ass. So, that's where we're at.
I'll be out here trying. And you're playing tennis? I still got to get in the tennis court with you. Okay, hot take. I find it incredibly annoying when myself, as if photographer has my starting... Okay, wait. Hot take. I find it incredibly annoying when myself, as if I'm struggling. Is it supposed to say as a photographer has my... Yes. I find it incredibly annoying when myself as a photographer has my starting prices listed on my website, as well as me sending over the full collection guide with all the prices listed out, only to hop on a video call with a couple. It goes great for them to come back to say I am out of their budget. Yeah, that's irritating as fuck.
That feels... I do not mean this personally to whoever submitted this. That sounds like a you problem. There's
for sure
ways to avoid that. And I know that you feel like you're like, well, I put it on my website. I put it on the investment guide. Make them tell you what
on
package
the
they are. Not even on the call. Before I hop on a call, you need to tell me what package are you interested in talking about? And I've only had this once in the last couple of years where I had a call with a client and afterwards they were like, it's too expensive. And they even asked me on the call, can you lower your price? And I said, well, I can lower the coverage. And they said, no, we just want you to lower the price. And I'm not going to do that. But in Honeybook, at least, I know this is different for everybody, or different for every system. In Honeybook, my pricing guide is built into there. I could hear him whine. It was so cute. My pricing guide is built into Honeybook, and you have to select what package you are interested in, submit it back to me, and then we can have a call.
Yeah.
I'm not getting on a call with you if your budget is half of what I
But like you said, you even had somebody who went through the process and still asked on a call. So I do think that there are situations where people are just... So, and like I said, that's why it's annoying. Like, it's just an annoying thing, and that sucks.
Yeah.
And did she say it's a hot take or something? Because I don't think that's a hot take. Like, it's just incredibly annoying for sure. But also, it is something that you need to continue to clarify and make sure that people are wildly aware before they hop on a call with you in saying, like, hey, here's blah, 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 blah,
also,
blah.
Also, some people just don't look at the shit that you're sending. So, yeah, that's why I would try to just implement something in your process where they have to tell you what they want to talk about so you have a better idea, or so, like, you know, well, at least they know. They might still get on a call and try to lowball me, but at least I know that they know my prices start at X, you know. But I also wonder, like, how often is this happening to you?
Yeah, if it's for this to be a wildly annoying, incredibly annoying thing, like you gotta we gotta fix that.
This is also when people are posting on their Instagram, y'all. We gotta stop with the whole like, can we stop ghosting your wedding vendors? Do you know that I love when people leave me alone? Yeah. You don't want to book with me? Bye.
The only time it bothers me, and I've said this before.
After a call, that would bug me.
No, I don't even care about that. Especially if you're a couple.
I know.
The only time it bothers me is if you are a photographer looking for branding photos from me and I send you over which I stopped doing. I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah. If you are serious about a branding session with me as a photographer or a creative in the space, we're getting on a call first. Yeah. And we're talking through things together. Yeah. And I'll walk through it with you, but I'm not giving you my guides for free just for you to turn around and use them for your own clients. Yeah. No thanks.
I actually inquired with a photographer for our elopement, and I was worried, and I'm not going to book her, and I told her this, but I was worried that she maybe felt like I was looking after her guide, so I had to give her very honest feedback, and I wanted to ghost her. I really never wanted to talk to her again. She didn't do anything crazy, but I didn't want to give her the feedback, but I also didn't want her to think like, she knew I was a photographer.
Right,
I didn't want her to be like, oh, this person's not getting back to me, whatever. So,
which she easily could have not thought that. Too.
Yeah, but I know I would have probably jumped to that conclusion, like, oh, you're gonna...
Oh, because you wanted to ghost her, you mean?
Yeah, gotcha. Like I wanted, oh, thanks for your guides, and now I literally am ghosting
Don't need
you.
you.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, so I kicked the can down the road a lot, and I didn't want to give her the feedback. She had just sent me a follow-up email, so I was like, okay, let me tell her. But what I did not like about the situation, and everybody does things differently, especially maybe based on location... This was an elopement, not a full wedding. But
in Vegas.
In Vegas. But if I inquire and your first thing is like, okay, let me know exactly the hours you want. I'll send over a proposal.
Jail.
Baby girl, we have not had a single conversation. We have not, you have not asked to hop on a phone call. You have not, nothing.
Jail. Immediately.
And you're like, let me send over a proposal. No.
You're going to jail.
And the photographer that I ended up going with is someone who was like, hey, before we talk, Opie. Oh, that's your shoe. I thought it was the cord. Now I care less, which is so bad. Opie.
It's my mom's.
So
hey. You should really care.
Come here.
Opie, here.
Can you come here? Come here, bye-bye. This is the Mayhem of All Mayhem podcast today.
Forget about it.
But... the photographer we ended up going with, photographer, was like, hey, it's really important to me that we hop on a call before we even talk about your package.
Yep.
So I can figure out maybe what you need and what works best for you. And I was like, thank you. Thank you. Like, the work couldn't have maybe been as good even. And I just appreciate did he just like,
I don't know what he's doing, but he's stressing me out.
I'm honestly, you read the next one, I'm going to kick him out of here.
Okay. This is an update on the photographer offering to shoot weddings for free to get into a specific venue. This photographer says that every single one of those couples have booked him or her since then, meaning they booked the photographer who submitted this, not the photographer who was offering to shoot for free, which again just speaks volumes on so many things that we cover on this podcast in terms of offering to do free work and not having the experience behind it.
You can do the next one too.
Okay. Engagement session versus rehearsal coverage. What are your thoughts? For me as a photographer, I feel like I'd rather have rehearsal coverage all day over engagement photos. The moments, the people captured, etc., are so precious and once in a lifetime. When I think of it, why would I want engagement photos when in a few months I'm going to have gorgeous wedding photos of just the two of us? Is there an idea or a trend that we have to have engagement photos for? Save the dates. When did engagement sessions really start? Was it started as a freebie on collections for photogs to back in the day to differentiate themselves from the competition? All in all, I would rather have more photos of a wedding event, meaning the rehearsal dinner with my friends and family, rather than multiple of my partner and I literally months or a year before our wedding. As a photographer, I have heard from other photographers, well, it's a really great way for the couple to get a sense of who you are and get to know you. I see their point, but I feel as if I can make a connection over a video consultation call, as well as showing up on the day of and working with my couple's personality, and feel as if engagement sessions really isn't necessary. What are your thoughts?
I agree, but I also understand the point of engagement sessions.
100%.
Also, engagement sessions, I feel like have been very common for a long time because people used to do announcements.
Yep.
In like the newspaper. Yeah. Hashtag.
A la Sex in the City, Charlotte and Harry.
With her little like Hitler mustache. But people used to do that, and it was really a big thing for like your parents to put that in the announcement, especially maybe the town you grew up in. So I would rather also rehearsal dinner coverage versus an engagement session. But to me, an engagement session is not to get to know the couple personally. I can do that over a cocktail or a coffee.
Yeah.
It is kind of nice for them to experience what it's like to have a camera in their face.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Before wedding day, because it can be jarring.
Yeah. Beyond me trying to get to know you, we can do that easily. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is a lot of people have never had professional photos taken of themselves, whether it's by themselves, whether it's with their partner, whether it's with their family. So many people have not ever had a professional photo ever taken of them. And it is a very different experience. And people really do freeze up and they go, what do I do with my hands? I don't know how to do anything. And I never expect anybody to know anything stepping in front of a camera. And that's what I tell them. Like, I don't expect you to know what to do. I don't know what to do sometimes when I'm in front of a camera. So I do think it is a really great way for people to have that experience before having their first ever professional photo of themselves being taken on their wedding day. Like, that's
and here's
alarming.
what I'll say. That's even coming from someone who prefers not to do engagement sessions.
Right.
And when I say prefer, I mean, like, if I had the choice between engagement or rehearsal, even in my packages, I started offering a second photographer on wedding day in lieu of an engagement session because I'm just like, it's not my favorite thing to do to fill up my schedule with 40 engagement sessions. Right. But also, on the flip side, with rehearsal dinners, if I have a Saturday wedding and the rehearsal dinner is Friday night, that means like I possibly could have booked another wedding and made, paid my bills. This isn't about just like making money. This is about paying bills, and we all have families to support and everything. And now I have a 1 hour commitment on Friday, so I have to lose out on a 10-hour wedding booking. That's also hard. So it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Yeah. No matter what, there's kind of
the submission does say, I feel like I'd rather have rehearsal coverage all day over engagement photos. Realistically, rehearsal coverage is 2 hours max. Yeah. It's not an all-day thing. It's something that goes by pretty quickly. Yeah. And an engagement session is also typically around an hour long. Yeah. So to me, they are very like one-to-one equal. Would I love to have the rehearsal dinner coverage, especially if it's a vibe and it's a theme and it's like, yes, your friends and your family are all there and I can capture more of the candid moments opposed to a more traditional engagement session? Sure, for sure. But I still enjoy the vibe of an engagement session here and there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Agreed. Whatever the couple wants.
Whatever the couple wants,
But I will say I have started doing this thing where if it's a Saturday wedding and the couple wants Friday rehearsal dinner coverage, I will let them know that it may be me.
Yeah, or it may not.
It may be the second photographer or another photographer just because it's rehearsal dinner coverage. It doesn't have to be me, but it is really hard for me to say, no, I'm not going to take on a full wedding because I have a 1 hour commitment on that night before.
That's difficult.
Okay. I am planning my wedding and I don't want to give a single guest a +1 because I don't want my wedding to have people that I don't know. Is that rude and selfish of me? Thoughts?
I think at that point, have a micro wedding or elope. Because in my opinion, if I'm inviting my close high school friend who maybe doesn't know my college friends or my work friends as well, and maybe they're more of like a singled out friend from years and years ago and they don't really know anybody, I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable and say like, you can't bring anyone, you have to come alone. Especially if they've like, let's say, been with their partner for 10 plus years and maybe they're not married. And this is probably talking a very different circumstance in terms of, well, this girl just started dating this other girl a week ago. Yeah, of course. In that case, I'm not inviting you to my wedding. Yeah. You could break up a week down the road. I don't know you like that. However, I don't think excluding +1s in that way. Yeah. Like, I would feel weird if somebody invited me and was like, your fiance is not invited. Like, it's just you.
And here's the thing. Like Nikki said, if you started dating that person
a week ago.
Yeah.
Different.
Unless the group is a very tight-knit group where this person that's not given a +1 knows people. Right. And doesn't just know them from a decade ago, but is comfortable talking to these groups of people. I mean, I would give them a +1. Otherwise, don't invite them at all. It doesn't sound like they're that close to anybody there either.
Yeah, that's my point, is like, do elope or do a micro wedding at that point. But if you're having a wedding of 150 plus 200 people, what's the difference of including a couple plus ones? I guess money wise. Yeah. But if your point is like, well, I don't want people I don't know there. Well, you don't know your catering staff either. So
but also how well then do you know
your friend
if you don't know their partner?
Exactly.
Like don't if it's a long-term partner.
Elope.
Yeah.
That's my thought. Elope. I also don't think it's rude or selfish necessarily because to each their own. However, those are our thoughts. It is what it is.
Yeah. This is why I was going to have 50 or less people at my wedding.
Yeah. How do you feel about vendors drinking at weddings? I recently ran into a situation with a photographer who got extremely intoxicated at a wedding, and I'm curious where vendors draw the line.
You and I might differ on this.
Okay.
Because some people are like dry. They're like, nope, I will not have a single drink.
Okay.
I will. But I will wait until about 10 minutes before my coverage is done or at the end of my coverage.
Yes.
And if the couple
invites you to.
Is like, take a shot with us or like have a White Claw or something. Yep. Absolutely. But I'm a one and done. There's no way you would catch me taking 2 drinks or 2 shots or anything like that. Like, I'm a one for the sake of trying to be fun for my couple, and then I'm done.
I know vendors who have a glass of wine with dinner. It's not me.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I'd be pretty...
I will say, same with you, if my couple asks me, take a shot with me, whatever. At that point, 100% I will. I was recently at a wedding. They had this like really fancy bottle of tequila and the groom was like, try it. And I'm not going to be like, no, I'm on the clock. Like, no, of course. I was like, sure, let me try it. Like a little sip isn't killing anybody. However, in this case, if you're saying like somebody is getting extremely intoxicated at a photographer specifically is getting extremely intoxicated at a wedding to the point where I'm guessing it's like hindering their job.
Yeah.
That is a huge red flag. That is a very concerning situation. And I've heard of plenty of photographers actually, a couple specifically that I can think of who have had that experience hinder their performance and their job. And at that point, you're messing with a couple who has paid you money to do a service at their wedding. And if you're not performing that service, jail. Like literally, I do not believe that you should be in this industry then, because that is your one job. You're there to do one job on somebody's very important, special one day that they may never get to like relive or re-experience, and they're trying to do so through your photographs. That's what you're hired to do.
Believe it or not, if you don't think you're that drunk, it doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter.
It matters with the perception of everybody else and people talk. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you are, I'm going to call out wedding photographers specifically. If you're a wedding photographer and you have been drinking on the job, even just a little bit, people know. People talk. Your couples talk. Their bridal party talks. The family talks. The other vendors talk.
Your other vendors talk.
Everyone knows. And you have a reputation whether or not you like it. So I would wrap that shit up real quick. And I would never, ever, ever, ever do that at a wedding. Again, if it's the last 10 minutes of your shift and your couple is encouraging like to have a drink, have a drink and go home. But this is not a party time for you. And now I'm going to talk to vendors other than photographers. DJs and bands, I get it. I get that you want to be a little zhuzh. We're taking it a little bit too far, though.
Yeah, you got to reel it in. Dial it back.
When I see a DJ, like, taking multiple shots with a bridal party, like, then they're down in mixed drinks, and I'm just like, bro. No, I get everybody's tolerance is their own, but it's still, it's
unprofessional.
It doesn't look good.
It's unprofessional, and I'm going to be the first to say it, probably not the first and definitely not the last, but that is an unprofessional thing in my opinion. I don't think it is the right way to handle it. I definitely don't agree with it. Like I said, if you want me to try a little tequila with you, sure. I'm not taking a full shot. I'm not, unless again, it's at the last 5 minutes of my coverage with you or after my time has ended to be at your wedding, I'm not doing it. Like I said, I will get a kitty cocktail at dinner.
Yep.
I don't feel comfortable not being fully mentally present when I am working, and I am working a job that's paying me several $100s an hour. I'm not risking the entire business that I have built off of my back to drink.
And I will tell you, in corporate America, I would have team members show up to work drunk. Not only are you you're out and you are banned. There's no conversation. You are done. And I'm like, why risk it for the biscuit? It doesn't make sense. And for people who are like, well, you know, like DJs and music, I kind of need some drinks to do my job.
No.
Yeah, but where does that stop then? Because your tolerance is going to get better and better. You're going to have to be drinking more and more. And now all of a sudden, like, you're ill or you're like long-term effects. And I'm just like, if you need to drink to do your job, I'd find a different job.
100%. This isn't the industry for you.
Yeah, because that's
and
not
truthfully, in a lot of these circumstances, I do think that within the wedding industry and profession, that there probably is a lot of like addiction and stuff like that. And I think that there's help that needs to be had if you need to drink to do your job. And that is very indicative. And I feel very confident in saying this because I've been around recovery and addiction my entire life. Both of my parents were addicts growing up.
Yeah.
I've grown up in a recovery community due to that fact. My ex-husband was in recovery. I am very familiar with the recovery community. And I think that if you're drinking to do your job, like you said, you need a new job, but you also need to seek help immediately.
If I had to play a slot machine to do my job, we'd have a problem. That sounds really fun, though.
For you.
Out in the basement, I just have a whole little mini casino.
Dude,
it would be so much fun. Okay. Need advice on what is the expectation around tipping in the wedding industry? Photography, catering, venue, day of coordinator, etc. Do all of these vendors already build their service/tip into the package, or what is the percentage expected on top of that? Should it vary vendor by vendor?
I think that's a great question. I honestly don't have a strong opinion on it. I don't have any opinion on it, to be completely honest. If you want to tip me, baby.
Yeah.
If you think I did a great job and you don't have an envelope prepared for me on the day of and you want to Venmo me after and you message me because you're like, God, you're the greatest, sexiest, funniest, most amazing photographer alive, cool, do it. If you don't, I don't feel any type of way about it. Like, I don't feel personally attacked. I don't feel like it's evil or rude.
Yep.
Now, if you are shooting like a multi-million-dollar wedding, and you're not paying $25,000 for your photographer and you would like to tip them, absolutely. Please do that.
If you know that you woefully underpaid a vendor because they either gave you a deal or they don't understand their worth, you should probably tip them. I think that's good karma. That's good juju.
Otherwise,
I mean,
I don't feel any type of way.
Yeah. My package pricing is built so that I can pay my bills. I do not need your tip to pay my bills, but the tip is nice. Tipping culture, though, the reason I think Nikki and I don't have a strong opinion about it is because tipping culture is absolute bullshit and it's out of hand. So after the first Beyonce concert, Adam and I were so fucking sick and our bodies hurt so bad because we didn't break in these boots. We went to a massage, like a random mini mall massage where I'm like, you don't know what's going on there, but I bet they give good ass massages. So we go after the massage and it's like $120 a person. It's fine. There's a sign that says, was your service good? ? Tip 20 to 30%. Was your service great? Tip 30 to 50%.
That's insane.
Was it phenomenal? And then it's like 50 to 80% with a smiley face. And I was like,
I'm not tipping you anything.
No, I literally, in my head, I was like, now I want to tip you nothing because that's the most selfish thing I've ever seen. Tipping up to 80%, be so fucking for real.
It has gotten out of control, out of hand. And as a wedding professional, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Even at restaurants, I used to be like, oh, the bill's 60, let's be fun and like just round it up to 100. Like just, let's be, and I don't mind doing things like that. But now I'm like 20%. 20%.
Yeah.
20% is a reasonable amount, but also for wedding vendors, that 20% is not the same.
It's not.
I know some wedding vendors are going to be like, shut the fuck up. You do not need to be tipping your wedding vendors who you're spending thousands of dollars on 20%.
Yep.
That's insane. Unless you are drowned in money, you have nothing else to do.
And to be completely honest, I did have like my cousin when she got married, she asked me like, what is appropriate? What is this? And I told her a very reasonable, like, I even said, I almost think you're doing a little too much because you're paying this person and yes, tipping them, and I knew my cousin's budget and I was like, girl, don't feel bad. Like, do what you can and write a nice handwritten personal note and make it
Google
lovely.
Review goes a long way.
Like, come on now. Yeah. Okay. Hot take. Wedding planners are the quarterbacks of the wedding day, not the owners. Let the experts do their jobs. Leave the flowers to the florists, the papers to the stationers, and the music to the musicians. Planners know the full day better than anyone else, but they will never know someone's craft as well as the crafter does.
So, although I do agree with this, I have never had a planner try to tell me how to do my job.
No, me neither.
I, if anything, have had some DOCs where I go, I could use a little bit more of your face during the day. Actually, 100%. I haven't seen you all day. I'm wrangling people left and right and whatever. But I've never had this experience. So I apologize if you have.
Yeah, I've never had this experience either. By the way, DOC, Day of Coordinator, for anybody who's not in the wedding industry who doesn't know, Day of Coordinator. I've had plenty of times where I have fully stepped in and become the Day of Coordinator, whether they've had one or not. But never have I ever had an experience where I'm like, okay, get the fuck out of my face to the planner. I've never felt that way. I've never felt like they've owned it. However, that is because we are in a very specific niche within the wedding industry. That's not to say that they don't necessarily step on florist toes or, let's say somebody is creating the stationery for a wedding day and the planner might have a very specific thought about it. Like, I don't know what that experience is potentially like. Agreed. I don't know. I've never been in that position. So it's not to say that it doesn't happen. And like Meg said, if it has happened to you, I'm sorry. However, I've never personally experienced that. But I do agree that the planners are the quarterbacks of the day. If anything, they are the team captain. They are the coach sometimes, if you will. But I don't think they're the owner of the team either.
And also, I think that a lot is riding on their back. I'm gonna just give them a little bit of grace here, because if things don't turn out, it almost doesn't matter what.
Yep.
It is on the planner.
I agree.
Well, they didn't communicate XYZ to the stationery person as much. Like they didn't communicate my vision enough, or they didn't do this, they didn't do this. I think there is a lot riding, especially when you think about these big budget luxury weddings.
Yep.
That is probably nerve-wracking. It could ruin their reputation. It could ruin their entire business. So they might be a little
any connections.
Yeah, they might be a little heavy-handed.
Yep.
And so, as long as they're not a fucking asshole, then it is what it is.
I agree with you entirely.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah.
That's all.
That's all. Okay, guys. I don't know how long that was. That might have been a year and a half. That might have been the most chaotic podcast episode we've done. I am clearly sick. I'm hacking things up. Opie was trying to chew our fingers off, and we made it through. So thanks for joining this cocktail hour.
God bless and hallelujah.
Right? Don't forget to subscribe, review the pod wherever you listen.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram at cocktailhour.podcast. We're also on TikTok, YouTube, all of the places that you can find us. You can click our submission link on Instagram. Everything is anonymous. We'd love to hear from you, especially since we just cleared out our inbox.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see you guys later.
See ya. Bye.